First impressions can be deceiving. In this case, they're like a 12-6 breaking ball on the outside corner. This is Little League World Series Baseball 2010. And this is a surprisingly good game of arcade baseball.
First out.
Batting second at shortstop, number 19.
Now, why would I modify its good description as surprising? Well, because whether we like it or not, first impressions are important. And when we play a new video game, there are a few traits from which those first impressions, the ones we get before we even put the disc in the console, are primarily based. The first is an issue of price, or perhaps more accurately, the stigma we've attached to budget titles like Little League World Series Baseball 2010. This game cost $39.99, just two-thirds the price of a typical release for the PlayStation 3, and in this case, the Xbox 360. So almost immediately, based on the majority of budget titles we've played on store shelves, words like generic and cheap may understandably come to describe our expectations.
These players, they care about every minute of the game. Batter should have gone for that one. That's a strike.
Secondly, and most importantly in the case of this game, is cover art. Little League World Series Baseball 2010 features cover art which is not only really boring and unexciting, but seems to solidify all the false preconceptions we've drawn from the game's price. It gives you the impression this is some kind of generic baseball title attached to the Little League World Series license, and worse yet, it just doesn't look very creative at all. But the game inside the packaging couldn't possibly be more different from what those first impressions, fair or unfair, might suggest. In fact, Little League World Series Baseball 2010 blast those assumptions over the right field wall. If you like arcade baseball, this game is definitely worth checking out. So if you've managed to get past the boring packaging, Little League World Series Baseball 2010 puts you in a world that's anything but. The diamonds are bright and colorful, drenched in plenty of vibrant greens and blues, and the players themselves have a wide-eyed, hyper-expressive look typical of Japanese animation, complete with spiky haircuts and all.
That got a piece of that, right?
If you're at all familiar with modern arcade-styled baseball games like MLB Power Pros, or even the ancient ones dating back to the Nintendo Entertainment System, you have a nice basis of comparison for Little League World Series 2010. This game doesn't concern itself with the details and minutiae of real baseball, but instead it simplifies the sport down to a series of mechanics which make the game very accessible and, with a little practice, extremely addictive. Like most arcade baseball games, batting is handled by just one button. You can aim your swing into the gaps with the analog stick, but the timing of your swing is what's really important. You can also charge up your swing by holding the button down, releasing it, and subsequently either driving a bomb off the scoreboard or popping out. Charge wisely.
And that'll do it for this batter as the ball popped out. He's gone.
Pitching is also really simple. You press a button corresponding with different pitches to select your pitch, you place it over the plate with the analog stick, and then you fire it to the plate using your gauge. And that works by holding down the pitch button and then releasing it when your meter hits the colored bar, which gives your pitch much more velocity and better control. In terms of the game's core mechanics, that's really all there is to it. And in my opinion, that's really all there needs to be to a good baseball game. Of course, the game also zazzes things up a bit with special power-up maneuvers called game breakers, which you can pull off by using points you collect during the game.
Get out of here, ball. That ball is gone.
They're fun to a degree, but as their name suggests, they sometimes tip the balance of the game, but in an unfair way. For example, if you build up your game breaker gauge and then just use it when your star player is at the plate, it's an instant home run. And that feels cheap even for an arcade baseball game. Also, you'll want to play this game with the automatic fielding setting, because doing it manually is almost impossible thanks to the awful camera angles, which follow the ball instead of the players on the field. Now, you still have to make throws in the automatic setting, but you won't have to struggle with navigating your players when you can't even see them. Indeed, if you're like me and you miss the days of baseball games like RBI Baseball and Bases Loaded, buy yourself some peanuts and Cracker Jack, because this is a game you'll never give back.
That's going to go foul.
Two out.
And that'll do it for this batter as the ball popped out. He's gone. Long, lazy fly ball.
Out. You're out.